What we're going to talk about now is using who and whom, because this is something that gives a lot of people trouble. It's really not that hard, and there's a few simple little rules that you can follow that will easily tell you which one of those words you should use. So let's start off by saying this. The case of the pronoun who is determined by the function of the pronoun in the sentence. So it's important to look at the sentence carefully to see which word you're going to need. Let's start off by talking about who and whom in questions, because this is where we see these words used a lot of times. Now, who is the nominative form of the pronoun, and in questions it works as a subject or as a predicate nominative. Now let's look at some examples. Who knows the story of Mulan, a heroine of old China? Now in this sentence, who is the subject of the sentence. So if the pronoun is working as a subject, who is the correct form. Now let's look at our second example. The heroine was who? This is a predicate nominative or predicate pronoun because it follows the linking verb was and refers back to heroine. So in these two sentences, we're looking at who because it's working as either a subject or a predicate nominative. Let's talk about whom now. Whom is the objective form. In a question, whom is used as a direct object or an indirect object or as the object of a preposition. So let's look at some examples. Whom did Mulan fool? In this sentence, the pronoun is acting as a direct object. That means we need whom. In the second example, she told whom the secret of her identity? In this sentence, the pronoun is working as an indirect object. That means we need whom, because whom is the objective form and it works as a direct or an indirect object. Now let me show you some clues to figure out which one of those words you should use. So let's look at an example sentence. Are we going to say to who was the order given or to whom was the order given? First thing to do is rewrite the question as a sentence. So now we have the order was given to who or the order was given to whom. We have to figure out which one of those is right. Now we need to figure out whether the pronoun is used as a subject, an object, a predicate pronoun, or the object of a preposition. Then we can choose the correct form. The order was given to whom, because whom is the object of the preposition to. That makes it obvious that we need to use the form whom because it's being used as the object of a preposition. So now we know that our question would say, to whom was the order given? Now, when you're talking about who or whom in subordinate clauses, this is a very tricky situation. One of the trickiest, in fact. In these cases, look only at how the pronoun functions within the clause. Try not to focus on the whole sentence because that can be really confusing. You're going to use who when the pronoun is the subject of a subordinate clause. In this example right here, it's the rebel chief who is threatening the borders. And we have our subordinate clause, who is threatening the borders. Now, in that subordinate clause, who is the subject? So if the pronoun is the subject, we know that who is the right word. You use whom when the pronoun is an object in a subordinate clause. So here's our subordinate clause. Whom we all fear most. If the pronoun is an object and not the subject, we're going to use the word whom. Here's how to figure out what to do. Let's look at our example. No one knows who wrote the Ballad of Mulan, or no one knows whom wrote the Ballad of Mulan. First thing to do is identify the subordinate clause in the sentence, which is who or whom wrote the Ballad of Mulan. Then you want to ask the question, is the pronoun used as the subject? Is the pronoun used as the object? And you may have to rewrite this in order to decide. The pronoun is the subject of the clause. Who is the correct choice? So we would say, who wrote the Ballad of Mulan? Then you are able to choose the correct pronoun for the sentence. No one knows who wrote the Ballad of Mulan. Don't ever assume, though, that whomever is correct after the preposition to. And that's a mistake a lot of people make. Choose whoever or whomever based on the pronoun's function in the subordinate clause. Give credit to whoever or whomever wrote the poem. Now this is working as a subject. So you would say, give credit to whoever wrote the poem. Hopefully, in this video, you've learned a few little clues about how to figure out is who the right word or is whom the right word. Sometimes you have to rewrite a question or rewrite the clause into a statement. Figure out what the pronoun is functioning as. Is it a subject, direct object, indirect object, a predicate pronoun? And that's going to tell you which form of the word to use.